Hey guys, we are back with some more New Jersey Devils franchise mode, and in this one, I do have a couple more changes to the lines that I did not make at the end of the last episode, and that would be Bratt to the first line and Nico to the second line. What this does, it balances out the first and second line because there was barely any physicality on that second line with Bratt on it. So Bratt, obviously, you take a look at him, he's more of an offensive player, but he's not really a physical guy. He only has 12 hits on the season so far. Boquist, he only has 12 hits as well. And then Gusev should have somewhere around the same, 15. So that is a very non-physical line. But Nico, however, he has, I believe, somewhere in the 30s. Yes, 36 hits so far this season. So we are going to try to get him on there to bring some more physicality to that second line. As for Hughes, if he wasn't physical, then I don't think I would have made this change, but he is. He's looking like a consistent 100 hit kind of player, at least for the purposes of this GM mode. Same thing for Hall, so that's why I'm all right with moving Bratt onto this first line with Hughes and Hall. We'll see how that works out with this new top six. And the bottom six, they've been doing fine as is, offensively and defensively, so I don't think there's really any need to change that. And obviously, at the end of the last one, we put Pesci on the top four and move Vukojevic to the top six because the pairing of Vukojevic and Subban was not doing too hot, a -8 and a -7 respectively. So we'll see how that all works out with these new combinations. And Michael Vukojevic has been injured with a sore foot until January 2nd. That is about 2 weeks from now, I'm going to say. So that's an unfortunate injury, but it does allow us to get Mass and Barry back in there, and we'll see what he can do in his return to the lineup. And Vukojevic is back. We'll get him in. So it's pretty safe to say that those line combinations, at least so far, have worked out. We went 10-3-1 in December. We started out with the shootout loss to the Islanders, but then a win, and then a loss, a win, a loss, a win, a loss, and then win, 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 win. We are on a 7-game winning streak. So I believe that is our longest winning streak of the season. Let's hope we can keep it going. Nico Hischier leads our team with 43 points. We are currently second in the division. So we have a 5-point lead on the Capitals, who are in the wild card. Things are looking good so far. So we'll check out the stats. Nico with 43 points, as we saw, and Hughes with 39 points. Gusev with 34. He is clicking once again. So it looks like that line change really helped out the second. The line change really helped that second line, getting Nico on there. Boquist now has 31 points in 38 games. And Gusev with 34 and 38. Remember, that second line was slumping hard. So they are back on track for sure. Hall with 28. Bratt with 26. So that first line might have suffered a little bit, but you know what? They still got Hughes. They got Hall on that line. They're fine. Bellows with 20. Palmieri with 20. So it looks like Bellows and Palmieri have slowed down a little bit, but that's expected. They're on the bottom six. I wouldn't expect them to be on a 55 or 60 point pace all year. Lundell with 19 points, so I believe he is on pace for about 40 this year. So that should be, if he could hit 40, I would definitely love to see that out of him. Dubé with 17, Bajan with 15, so he's in a bit of a slump compared to last year at least, when he had 37 points in his rookie year. So maybe a bit of a sophomore slump for Bajan. 8 for Zacha, and Zetterlund has played 3 games. Face-off guys, you have Lundell with a 55.2, Nico with a 55.1, Hughes with a 54.4, Zacha with a 53.9, and Boquist with a 49.2. So I guess that's another good reason why we moved Boquist to the wing, because Nico is much better at face-offs than he is. So now we have all of our 4 centers, our current centers anyway, are at least, if you round up Zacha's to a 54%, are at least at a 54%. That is actually pretty insane. So I'd imagine we have a very good team face-off rating. Hit-wise, you have Hall and Hischier with 60. That is exactly why I moved Nico onto that second line. He's bringing the physicality big time. Hughes with 48, Bajan with 48, Palmieri with 43, Dubé with 37, Bellows with 33, Zacha with 31, Gusev with 29, Bratt with 22, Boquist with 17, Lundell with 13, and Zetterlund with 3. Takeaways and giveaways. Bajan, 40-20. He's looking insane so far this season defensively. Hall, 39-18. Lundell is also good. Hischier's good. Palmieri's good. Hughes is good. Dubé's good. Bratt's good. Gusev, he's back even as well. Boquist could be a bit better. Bellows is good. Zaka could be better. And Zetterlund 1 to 2. So overall, our forwards have also gotten better defensively. That's definitely a good sign. For our defensemen, you have Falk and Slavin with 19 points each, Subban with 18, Pesci with 11, Severson with 8, Vukojevic with 7, and Bowie with 3 in 14 games. Hits, you have Slavin leading the way with 66, Subban with 59, Vukojevic with 45, Severson with 40, Pesci with 31 in how many games? 27, so over a hit per game. Falk with 29, and Bowie with 12 in 14 games, so almost a hit per game as well. And takeaways and giveaways, yeah, Vukojevic, not great. Pesci actually has a very good takeaway to giveaway ratio for a defenseman, so he has been a solid pickup so far this year for only $1 million for 2 years. He's been a steal, honestly, so far. 10 to 17 for Subban, he's been good. Severson, 10 to 24. Falk, 8 to 26. 8 to 36 for Slavin, and 3 to 11 for Bowie. Now for goaltenders, you have Grubauer with a 902, Bressois with a 895. So the same percentages, unfortunately, as far as Grubauer goes, haven't changed, but it looks like our offense has definitely picked it up and has been what has been carrying us, and we'll confirm that in the team stats here. Yeah. The offense has definitely been carrying us. We're at a 3.63 goals for per game, 2.95 goals against per game. I think that's actually gone up since we last checked. So it's definitely been our offense that has been carrying us at least throughout December. The power play, the power play is at a 28.1, not messing with that at all. And the penalty kill has dropped down a little bit since we last checked. I believe it was around an 83 at the end of the last one, and is now at 81.6. So still in the top 3 of the division. Nothing to be too concerned about, I don't think. Especially considering that we are 10-3-1 in December, 8-2-0 in our last 10. So everything's looking good so far. I think we could go ahead another month. And we have a trade. To Boston will be 2 seconds and C. Quincy. And to Columbus will be Josh Anderson and a 5th. So the turnaround for this team has actually been kind of incredible since we made those line changes. We went 10-3 in January. Look at this. Win, 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 win. Loss, win, win, loss, loss, win, win. From December 18th up until January 10th, we went on a 13-game winning streak. Win, number 1. Number 2, 3, 4, 5. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 against Chicago, and then it was broken up by the Washington Capitals. So we are 32, 16, and 3. We are at the top of the Metropolitan Division with 67 points. Not sitting there comfortably as of yet, as the Hurricanes are right behind us. Islanders 7 points behind, and the Capitals 8 points behind. But we are really starting to solidify ourselves as one of the more elite teams as of recent in the Metropolitan Division, which, I mean, you go 10-3-1 in December, 10-3-0 in January. You go on a 13-game winning streak. That is the sign of a very good team. So we will check out the stats once again. Nico with 56 points in 51 games. He has been helping out that second line tremendously, and he still leads our team in points, even though he's on the second line. Jack Hughes with 53 points in 51 games. Gusev with 50 points in 51 games as well. 32 goals. 47 for Boquist. Oh my goodness. This team, I mean, this top 6 in general is actually incredible this year so far. Halsey, a little behind from where it usually is, 41 points in 48 games, but I can't complain when basically everybody else is scoring as well. And Hall he's scoring at a good rate too, just not the rate that we're used to him producing at. I mean, even these 2 years here, I mean, he's probably on pace to outscore what he did in these 2 years in year number, 3 and 4. So this top 6 is actually pretty incredible. Jesper Bratt, looks like he's slowed down as of recent, 38 points in 51 games, but again, we're winning a lot right now. We are 27-1 in our last 28 games. So I cannot complain at all. Paul Marriott with 29 points, Dubé with 24, Lundell with 22, Bellows with 22, Bayesian with 19, Zacha with 13. Zetterlund has not played since, I believe, October or November, so still has only 3 games played. We've been pretty lucky so far with the forward injuries, and now that I've said that, we're probably going to get like 10 of them in February. Face-off percentages, Nico with a 54.4, Lundell with a 53.4, Dubé does not normally take face-offs, Hughes with a 51.6, Zacha has dropped below a 50, so he's been struggling as of recent on the face-off dot, because he was, I believe, above a 53 when we last checked, so he's struggling recently for sure, and Boqvist with a 49.2, but he does not take faceoffs at the moment. Hits, you have Nico with 81 hits, Hall with 77, Bayesian with 70, so Bayesian's starting to find his physical side as well, so he is becoming a tremendous two-way force, because last year he only had 65 hits total, he already has 70 on the season, and we still have 30-some games to go. So I expect him to hit 100 hits for sure. Hughes with 68, Paul Marriott with 54, Bellows and Dubé with 50, Zacha with 43, Gusev with 38, Bratt with 33, Boqvist with 24, Lundell with 23, Zetterlund with 3. Takeaways and giveaways, Nico, Hall, Lundell, Hughes, Bayesian, all doing amazing. Paul Marriott is even, Dubé good, Boqvist good, Bratt good. Gusev could be a bit better. Bellows good. Zacha could be better. And Zetterlund 2-1. Defensemen, you have Falk with 26, Subban with 25, Slavin with 24, Pesci with 12, Severson with 11, Vukojevic with 9, and Bowie with 3 and 14 games. Hits, you have Slavin with 87, Subban with 76, 57 for Vukojevic, 54 for Severson, Pesci with 45, 34 for Falk, and 12 for Bowie. Now, I'm not even going to bother looking at the takeaways, the giveaways at this point, because for defensemen, we all know that they're going to be pretty bad. All that matters right now is that we're winning. And in goal, you have Grubauer with a 906, and Brissois with a 913 in 9 games. So he has definitely improved as of recent, and Grubauer slightly getting better as well, went from a 902 to a 906. And we will check out the team stats, and then we will continue the simulation, because we are just, it appears, firing on all cylinders right now, as we have a 3.69 goals for per game, and a goals against per game has gone down to a 2.69. We are first in the division for both goals for and goals against. That's a very good sign, and the power play is absolutely killing it. 30% on the power play. How do you like that? And our penalty kill out of 81.2, so it stayed consistent over the past month. And that's all I can really ask for right now, because we're on an amazing tear. Let's hope we can keep it going, because at this rate, we should be in a very, very good spot. And we have a trade. To Tampa Bay will be Jonas Brodin and a 6th, and to Vancouver will be Jay Curtis and Ryan McDonough. Another trade. To Winnipeg will be Vitali and a 3rd, and to Colorado will be Riley Smith, Michael Stone, and Asplund. And we have another trade. To Columbus will be Anthony Mantha, a 3rd, Braden McNabb, and a 4th, and to Detroit will be Ryan Murray, a 4th, and Prokhorkin. So we are here before the trade deadline in February, and so far in February we have gone 8-3, building off all of our previous performances in the past couple of months. It's looking very good. I don't think there's any reason to make any trades right now. We are a total of 40, 19, and 3. We're at the top of the Metropolitan with 83 points. We are 11 points ahead of the Flyers. I think our playoff position, as long as we keep even a 1-to-1 win-loss ratio at this point, would still get us into the playoffs, as long as we win one and lose one, win one, lose one. I mean, that's obviously not ideal, but that'd be the bare minimum of what we have to do to get into the playoffs. But let's make sure that we do everything that we can to get the best record possible. So I think we will simulate right through the trade deadline, and we will get to the end of the regular season. Of course, the day, as soon as we simulate the trade deadline, we are literally right after the trade deadline right now. It shows the indicator on the trade deadline, but that means the trade deadline has already passed. Jacob Slavin injured with a broken hand until April 20th. You absolutely hate to see it. Of course. Of freaking course. Oh my goodness. So I guess we'll get Severson up with Falk and then Pesci with Subban. Oh man, that drains our defensive core a lot. Yeah, that Slavin trade was definitely necessary. And at this point, I'm glad that we built up all those wins early. And Nikita Gusev has been injured with a mild concussion until March 24th. That is about a week and a half away, I believe. We're going to get Paul Mary on the second line. And Zetterlund in there for the first time in a while. And Gusev is back. We will take Zetterlund out and get everyone back to their normal lines. So we finish off the season 51, 28-3, and 105 points. We are first in our division, but unfortunately not first in the conference. That would belong to the Lightning. And we went 11-8 post-trade deadline, so losing Slavin definitely hurt a little bit, but we still were good enough to get into the playoffs. And not just get into the playoffs, we kind of made it easy for ourselves with the performances that we had in December, January, and in February prior to the trade deadline. So, all in all, a pretty good year so far, but we'll see what happens in the playoffs. And now we will check out the stats. Nico led our team once again with 89 points, 61 assists, and 28 goals. He has become a beast for us. Nikita Gusev, over a point per game, and 51 goals, 80 points on the season. Hughes was 79. Boqvist with 73 points. That is by far a career high. He was incredible this season. Put him with Nico, put him with Goose. He will get tons of assists. And wow, 57 assists for Jesper Boqvist. Taylor Hall with 68 points. Bratt with 61. That is about on pace with what he usually gets. Yep. He's a consistent 60-point player for the most part, besides this year right here. And year number one, of course. Paul Mary with 48. So even on the fourth line, he managed to keep pace with what he usually gets, which is around 50 points. I mean, obviously he was on the power play, but that fourth line was pretty solid too when it came to 5-on-5 scoring. As we see here with Dubé, 36 points. He didn't have any power play time. So that fourth line was pretty darn good offensively. Lundell with 34 points. So it looks like he's topped out offensively, unfortunately. But he is still a pretty good defensive player, as we see by his takeaway to giveaway ratio and by his face-off percentage. Beijing with 32 points. So he didn't manage to get... I believe he did not manage to get more than he did last season. No, he did not. He had a bit of a slower season this year. He did get a lot more shots, though, on the third line, given his increased ice time. And he was much, much better defensively. 114 hits and a takeaway giveaway ratio of more than 2-1. So we're looking at a pretty solid defensive player here at only 21 years of age. Kiefer Bellows with 32 points as well. Zacco with 19. Zetterlund with 0 in 6 games. Face-off percentages, you have Nico with a 55.4. Lundell with a 53.2. Hughes with a 52.5. And Zacha with a 50.2. Hits, you have Hischier, Hughes, Hall, and Beijing all with over 100. Paul Mary with 93, 92 for Bellows, 81 for Dubé. Zacha with 69, 62 for Gusev, 51 for Bratt, 41 for Boqvist, 34 for Lundell, and 3 for Zetterlund. Takeaways and giveaways, Hischier, Hughes, Hall, Lundell, Beijing, all amazing. Boqvist, he could be doing a bit better there, but he had a stellar offensive season, so I'm not going to complain too much about him. Paul Mary, he was good as well. Gusev was good. Dubé could have been better. Bellows was good. Bratt could have been better. Zacha could have been a bit better as well. Zetterlund 3-3. On defense, you have Falk with 40 points, Subban with 39, Slavin with 29, as we know he got injured for the last part of this season. We will not have him until, I would say, Game 5, Game 6 of round number 1, should we need to go there. So let's hope he recovers fast, because we're going to need him for any time beyond that point. And Severson with 22 points, Pesci with 15, Vukojevic with 14, Bowie with 9 in 33 games. Hits, you have Subban, Slavin, and Severson, all with over 100. Vukojevic was close with 93 over a hit per game. Pesci with over a hit per game with 85. Falk with 56, and Bowie over a hit per game with 38 in 33 games. And goaltenders, this should be interesting. Grubauer with a 908, so he was pretty much just steady all season. And Brossoit with 14 games played, 903 save percentage. Grubauer carried a big load of the games, 71 games played for Grubauer. And he was solid when he had to be because he got 43 wins. Now we're going to check out the AHL real quick. Caleb Wingels with a 904 save percentage. He's at a 76 overall. He should be good to go in a couple of years because at the rate that he's been growing, he should be an 80 overall by, I would say, the start of the season after next season. So year number 8, I believe he should be ready. Karpinen, he was solid this season as a backup in the AHL, 922 save percentage. So he's making a case as well to, if he gets a jump in potential and if he jumps in overall as well over the offseason, he could potentially make a run at being one of our goaltenders of the future as well. Defensively, you have no prospects. And forward-wise, you have Bykov with 62 points. He's an 81 overall. So it was definitely a good idea keeping him down in the AHL for the entire year. I'd imagine a lot of that, it's probably a lot of that is in part from morale growth, I would imagine. But you know what? I would imagine morale growth helps out with the point scoring because it does, in fact, boost his overall. So that should also help with the offseason growth. If he can become like an 82 or an 83 by the start of next season, that would be great. And Sergei Pushkarev, he stayed at 74, but he got 33 goals on the season, 57 points. Are there any other prospects down here? I don't think so. And we will check out the team stats before we check out who we have to face in the first round. Goals for per game, we are at a 3.61, and goals against per game, we are at a 2.8. First in the division for both categories. And the power play kind of slowed down towards the end of the year, but still nonetheless a very good power play. 26.8%, by far first in the division. And the penalty kill, not by far first in the division, but still first in the division, 81.6. It stayed pretty consistent throughout this entire episode, so I really can't complain there either. I mean, we really, even though we are 5-5 in our last 10, you could put part of that on losing Slavin to injury. So now we will see who we have in the Year 6 playoffs here to start out in round number 1. It will be the Washington Capitals. So let's check out their lines. Oh boy. That first line is filthy. Kyle Connor now on the Washington Capitals with Kuznetsov and Ovechkin. An 84 overall Ovechkin on the first line. Second line, the 79 overall TJ Oshie with Ryan Donato and Jacob Vrana. On the third line, they have Axel Janssen-Fialbi with Marco Rossi and Tom Wilson. And the fourth line, Brian Little, the 75 overall Brian Little with Brett Leeson and Joel Armia. And on defense, they have the injured Lucas Johansson, so it'll be interesting to see who takes his spot. John Carlson, the 85 overall John Carlson, so a very old Capitals team here. Dmitry Orlov, the 83 overall with Brendan Dillon, and then Michael Kempney with Jared Spurgeon. And in goal, they have Holtby and Samsonov, and scratch, they have Siegenthaler, so I would imagine he'll go in for, Lucas Johansson. And then Connor Hobbs and Alexander Alexiev. So there you go. That'll be about it for this one. And in the next one, we have Calgary versus Vancouver, LA versus Arizona, Chicago versus Colorado, Dallas versus Anaheim. And in the East, we have Tampa versus Pittsburgh, Montreal versus Toronto, Philly versus Carolina, and your New Jersey Devils versus the Washington Capitals. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one when we face the Washington Capitals.